And we're back. My alarm's beeping shatters the early morning quiet, and I find myself wondering where to find the motivation to rise. Class is still quite far off, but I agreed to run with Emmy in the mornings. Really, I'm not that interested in running as a hobby or even as a possible life-lengthening exercise. However, I feel obligated to follow through on my promise to Emmy yesterday, which is why I find myself throwing on some running shorts and a light t-shirt. The cool morning air caresses my face as the morning sunshine draws the dew on the grass to sparkle, nearly blinding me at first. As I make my way down to the track, an ugly thought strikes me. What if this is some sort of joke that Emmy's playing on me? Will that surprise me, really? Well, I'd probably do it to the new guy, too. At the very least, I'm sure Emmy and Lynn made a bet on whether or not I'd actually show up. I feel a sense of trepidation as the track comes into view. You're late. It would seem that Emmy is already there. What a relief. Not according to my watch. We both are early, in fact. Damn, you got me there. Emmy is sitting on the bleachers, decked out in her running gear, waiting somewhat patiently for me. I'm glad you're actually here. I was afraid this was a joke or something. Nah, I'd never make someone get up early for nothing. Plus, Rin owes me 500 yen now. She didn't think you'd actually show up. I knew it. Nice to know Emmy was on my side at least. Emmy hops off the bleachers and begins stretching out. She's remarkably lithe, almost like a dancer. I set out to stretch as well, but then realized I don't exactly remember how to stretch properly. It's been ages since I stretched for anything, if you don't count my one stint at running last week. And even then, I don't think I actually stretched beforehand. The specter of my long hospital stay rises up again. Can't say I was all that active before the hospital stay, though, so maybe I'm just being morose. Emmy giggles as she watches me stretch out. No, Hizao, you gotta hold it out for longer than that. I'm trying, it kinda hurts a little. That's because you're out of shape. You gotta get some flexibility in you like this. To demonstrate, Emmy reaches down and puts her head through her legs. God bless you, Emmy. I see, is that the sort of thing I should strive for? Of course, flexibility is important for any runner. You'll be able to go faster the more you stretch out. That makes no sense to me, but Emmy seems to believe it's true. With Emmy's help, I managed to stretch myself out properly. Can't help but notice that when she thinks about how to explain things to me, her mouth scrunches up in concentration. It's adorable. Not bad, Izao. Come on, we'd better start running. We'll start off with just a mile, okay? That's 4 laps around the track, got it? Sounds fine to me. It shouldn't be too hard, right? Hazy memory of her running a mile for gym class surfaces in my mind. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Emmy sets a pretty good pace, and I fall in behind her. Try to keep up, okay, Izao? Roger. We're on the first curve without incident, though I can already feel my heart rate increasing slightly. By the second curve, I've started to breathe through my mouth. Emmy doesn't seem to be breaking a sweat. As if to punctuate her superiority, she turns around and starts running backwards. Doing okay, Izao? Never better. Oh, really? Well, maybe I should speed up then, hmm? Oh, no, wouldn't want you to overexert yourself. My heavy panting and wheezing makes the statement less convincing than I had hoped. Emmy simply smiles and turns around again. You're the boss, Izao. We'll stay at this pace. I get the feeling I'm being mocked. If I weren't in such terrible shape, I'd probably feel offended. By the 3rd lap, my breath is coming in ragged gasps. I'm also awash in my own sweat. Gross. We are on the curve to start our 4th lap, and Emmy looks back at me with a grin. Here we go. She takes off at blinding speed while I stubbornly stick to my slower pace. By the time I get to the first turn, she's already rounding the 2nd. As I struggle across the back stretch, Emmy continues running and catches up to me. Come on, Izao, you can do it. I'd answer her, but I'm too focused on getting air into my lungs and ignoring the burning of my leg muscles. Part of me wants to say something like, maybe you can, but I'm about to die here. But again, I doubt I can actually form words right now. Emmy keeps pace with me as I round the 2nd turn across the finish line. Her sprint seems to have gotten her sweating. It's actually caused her shirt to turn slightly translucent. She seems to wear a black sports bra. I feel a vague stab of guilt for being the sort of guy who stares at a girl's chest, but my legs and chest are burning so badly I can't bring myself to care that much. Not bad for a first effort, Izao. Kind of, to say so. Emmy seems to be, if not out of breath, at least breathing a little more heavily than she was before we started running. Must have been the sprint that did it. Hey, I got a few sprints in. You should walk around the track to cool down. Then we can stretch out and we'll all be done. Okay? Sounds great. My legs are on fire and my breathing is still heavy, but surprisingly my heart seems to be taking the strain as well. Another triumph of medical science, I suppose. You should put your hands behind your head. It makes it easier to catch your breath. It does? That's weird. Surprisingly, she's right. I begin to stroll around the track, happy to feel my breath coming back to me. There's a blur as Emmy sprints by me. Watching her run is absolutely fascinating. It's not just because she's on prosthetics, although that is interesting. The really interesting thing is the way her face changes. I can only catch glimpses of it as she runs by, but her eyes seem to come alive with a sort of fierce joy. It's as if there's nothing else in the world but her and the track. By the time I've gotten to the final stretch, Emmy seems to have finished her sprinting. She's breathing heavy now, but she's wearing a satisfied grin on her face. She waves to me cheerily as I near her. Feeling better, right? Actually, yeah. Do you want to take another lap around with me? I've got to cool down too, you know? Part of me would rather sit down and not move, but something tells me that would be a bad idea. Besides, if I sit down, there may be no getting back up again. Sure, why not? Emmy's got her hands behind her head now as well, which makes her seem very relaxed. Positioning of her arms also pulls her shirt upward ever so slightly so I can see a small strip of her belly. Do my best to act the gentleman and not look, but the contrast of her skin against the red running shorts is rather arresting. So how do you feel, Izao? Surprisingly good, actually. I'm sore and tired, but surprisingly good. As soon as I say it, I realize that it's true. Sure, part of me wants to lay down and die, but I feel like I've accomplished something. It's almost like a glow throughout my body that persists despite the soreness. Yeah, that's the runner's high. Runner's high? Yeah, it has something to do with adrenaline? Emmy thinks for a moment as we walk, trying to remember. Then she shrugs and grins at me. I don't actually remember. It's a good feeling, though, isn't it? Better, really, Emmy? Better than sex, right? I open my mouth to respond shortly before processing what she just said. Emmy watches my face for a few moments before bursting into laughter. Sorry, I couldn't resist. You're just too easy. Why did I agree to run with you again? Emmy just laughs harder. She takes a hold of my forearm and tilts it, allowing her to get a better view of my watch. Her face changes the moment she sees the time. Oh no, we better get a move on, Izao. Class is in an hour. I need to shower. And I should probably do that as well. I need to see the nurse, too. Maybe he'll write me a note for being late. Why do you need to see the nurse? Emmy points to her prosthetics as if that would explain everything. It's important to check for irritation. You know, from sweat or friction or anything. Normally I only go after practice, but if we're going to be doing these morning runs, then I guess I'll see him twice a day. But so Emmy has only started doing these runs since I showed up? It's more convenient for you to run with me at a later time. Don't be silly, I've been meaning to start running in the morning for a while now. But if I didn't have a partner to run with, I'd be less likely to keep up a routine. It's always harder to blow off a commitment if you're going to let someone else down, you know? So you'll be my running partner for the mornings. We both need the exercise, so it all works out, don't you think? Yeah, perfect. Did it have to be me, though? Well, I guess I can't complain too much. Emmy's pretty fun to hang out with. And she's right, I do need the exercise, doctor's orders even. Emmy waves a quick goodbye to me. Right, time off. Come have lunch with us, okay? Huh? Lunch, you know, the meal in the middle of the day. Come have it with us. Where? The rooftop. Rin likes it up there. When? Lunch, I would assume. Yeah, lunchtime. When else? That was a silly question. Yeah, but I sort of felt the need to ask all three for completeness' sake. Emmy laughs and grins. I don't think I've ever seen a girl smell so much before. Not bad, Izao. See ya. With that, she takes off like a shot for the school building. Guess she's going to see the nurse first. I hurry back to my room and hop in the shower, only find that the water takes a while to heat up. The shock of the cold water nearly kills me. Managed to warm the water a bit and spend some quality time feeling my muscles loosen. My heart, surprisingly, feels the least bothered by the run. I suppose that's a good thing, even if it does make me feel like a bit of a wuss. I mean, at least I'd have an excuse beyond I am out of shape if my heart were bothering me. Guess I'll have to keep this running thing up, otherwise I'm sure Emmy won't let me hear the end of it. It's only after I get out and dry myself off that I realize that I've only 10 minutes left to put my clothes on and get to class. Crap. Hands on the clock finally set me free from the tedium of yet another fun-filled class. Getting up from my seat proves to be more of a problem than I anticipated, and my legs are killing me from the morning's run. Maybe doing these with Emmy isn't such a hot idea after all. He's changing his mind a lot on this. Still, the run's giving me a hell of an appetite. I'm halfway down the hallway to the cafeteria when I remember that I've got my lunch with me. My parents saw fit to provide me with some prepackaged stuff when I moved in, and it's a good thing too. Hallway is packed with students headed for the cafeteria. Going back is like swimming upstream, but I've got an appointment to keep on the rooftop. It takes me a moment to find the staircase leading up to the rooftop, but I'm willing to bet that Emmy and Rin aren't up there by now anyway. In fact, I think I saw Emmy among the bodies in the hallway headed for the cafeteria. I step out of the door to the roof and take a deep breath. Fresh air blowing against my face and body almost makes my legs hurt less. Maybe if I'm upside down. Part of me wants to be surprised that Rin's already up here. What's that going to accomplish? Things in the clouds. Can't you just look at the right side up? Rin rolls her eyes in something approaching exasperation, and then I wouldn't get a new perspective. Is upside down really a new perspective? I caught her off guard. Rin looks pensive. You may have a point, maybe sideways. As Rin lays down on the bench to look at the sky, I give up. Fortunately, Emmy chooses that moment to burst through the door carrying 2 bags. She nearly takes the door off the hinges. Oh, sorry it took me so long, there were a ton of people in line. She drops the first bag in front of Rin and takes a seat on the bench next to her. You buy Rin's lunch for her? Sometimes, yeah, I'd have Rin buy my lunch for me in return, but I'm not sure how that you carry it. Plus, I'd never buy her lunch. If Rin's offended by Emmy's comment, she doesn't show it. Emmy sniffs. How ungrateful of you. I'm not sure whether the two are joking with one another or if I'm witnessing the beginning of a catfight. 2 girls stare at one another for a few tense moments before breaking into smiles. Hey, Emmy, do you think being upside down is a new perspective on things? Didn't I already have this conversation? Emmy looks thoughtful, apparently giving the question some thought. After a deep, profound pause, she speaks. I have no idea. She's just as lost as I am. Hey, Zhao, you're coming to the track meet, right? The question comes out of the blue and catches me off guard. I don't know yet. Honestly, Hizao, after I went through all the trouble of letting you run with me in the morning, you won't even show up to my track meet. Wasn't she the one that asked me to run with her? Actually, she didn't even give me a choice in the matter. No, wait, no, I didn't say that. She beams at me as if I just agreed to give her $1 million. So you will come after all, that's great. I didn't say that either. I'll be going too, so I'll make sure he comes at me. Good idea, Rin. Maybe we can get some food or something after the meet's over. I feel like I've just been conned, but not by these two. More like by some outside force pushing me irrevocably towards my destiny. Maybe I shouldn't read books that feature conspiracy theories so heavily, otherwise I might wind up sounding like Kenji. Still, I suppose that I've got to show up now. I don't think that I could stand against both of them being disappointed. I'd never hear the end of it. When is it again? Next week, silly. I just told you a few days ago. No, you didn't. I forgot? Well, you won't forget to come though, will you? Of course I won't. I'll even make a note on calendar or something. Rin nods sagely. That's probably a good idea, you know, unless time changes this course. We can do that. Rin gives his non-committal shrug. It hasn't yet, but you never know. This time it's Emmy who gives a shrug. I suppose it can't be helped if it happens. Unless you're a time traveler or something. You don't actually think that could happen, do you? I don't think we do we? Rin shrugs again. That seems to be her default response to everything. I suppose not, but I reserve the right to change my opinion at a moment's notice. For Rin, this statement makes a disturbing amount of sense. The fact that I realize this now frightens me a bit. I wonder if Emmy gets this feeling all the time. She does, she's not showing it, though. Emmy merely nods. As expected. What's that supposed to mean? This time, it's Emmy who shrugs. It's like she's using Rin's own weapons against her. Your response is the sort of thing I expect from you, that's all. Am I really that predictable? Emmy's smile seems to border on gloating. Nah, just that your unpredictability is very predictable. Oh, that's alright then. I don't get the chance to see whether Rin's being serious or not as the bell rings. I didn't notice the lunch period slipping by at all. Hanging out with these two is far too interesting. Emmy jumps up, a look of panic on her face. Oh no, I need to stop by my room to pick up my notebook from the next class. Don't you wish you had a time machine now? Rin seems rather smug as she delivers this line, like she just won an argument. Emmy ignores Rin's comment. Sorry, Zhao, but could you make sure our garbage gets thrown away? I usually clean up myself, but I gotta run. Oh, sure, no problem. Emmy darts away with an urgency I'm starting to expect from her. I don't bother asking Rin why she couldn't help. She already seems to be preoccupied with something else entirely as she wanders off. She's probably used to Emmy taking care of cleanup, and for some reason I doubt Emmy's ever raised the issue with her. Cleaning up from lunch doesn't take long, so I have plenty of time to toss her garbage and get to class. Misha greets me with a wave and a devious grin as I walk through the door. Didn't see you in the cafeteria, Hee-chan. Yeah, I decided it was too crowded there. Misha's grin gets even wider. Oh, really? Are you sure you weren't participating in an illicit rendezvous? What are you talking about? You were on the roof, right? With both Rin and Emmy, no less, you Casanova, you. We just had lunch, that's all. Misha bursts into laughter, drawing the attention of several of my classmates. You're so adorable when you blush like that, Hee-chan. She gives me a conspiratorial wink. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. There's no secret. Oh? Misha seems disappointed and then brightens up again. Time will tell. I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but blessedly our teacher comes in and the class starts. Another day of class has finally dragged itself to a close. Unexpectedly, I managed to stay awake for the whole day. Pretty sure that counts as a miracle. My legs seem unwilling to stand up for a moment. Guess the run took a lot out of me. Yes, you've mentioned this about 5 times now. I head down the hallway and make my way to my room. I sit down and half-heartedly chip away at my homework for a while, feeling like a vulture picking at a particularly unsavory carcass. It knows this is what it eats, but it's not sure that it shouldn't be ordering takeout instead. I don't think I can take this, but it's important to get my work done. Now let's see, what was I supposed to be looking over again? I know it's a losing battle, but I fight it anyway. Halfway through my math homework, I put my pencil down. This isn't working, I need a distraction. Unfortunately, my options for distractions are rather slim. Not in the mood to read right now. Kenji is unusually out of his room at the moment. If I go to the student council room, I'll just end up doing work for those two. Heaven only knows where everyone else is, except for... well, I suppose that's an option. I grab my shoes and head for the track. Emmy's probably down there. Track practice is just ending as I arrive at the track. The sun's beginning to dip low in the sky. It's really gotten that late already. What are you doing down here, Zhao? Come to spy on me, have you? Give a shrug. To be honest, I'm not sure why I'm down here. I didn't have anything better to do. I figure that's about right. At the moment, Emmy is the only person I can think of who I could visit. So I'm your last resort, am I? Nobody cool around, so I'll just go see Emmy. Is that what you're thinking? Well, she actually looks angry. Chance for some teasing in my own presence itself. Actually, yeah, I guess you are. Emmy pouts, widening her eyes to give the maximum amount of puppy dog resemblance. Kidding, I was kidding. So you're down here to stalk me? What? That's not what I meant. Why would I stalk you anyway? It's not like you require stalking. If you're not a sleeper in class, you're down here, right? Emmy laughs at this comment. Well, you're not all wrong, I suppose, but you forgot about eating. I do that too, you know. I nod, conceding the point. Plus, I hang out with Rin sometimes too, so really I might take some effort to stalk. What do you two do together anyways? You don't seem to have a lot in common. She puts her hands on her hips and assumes a superior air. That's what you think. I've got all sorts of hidden hobbies, you know. Oh, really? Like what? Emmy puts her head to one side as if she's trying to remember what it is she does in her free time. Well, Rin and I go out shopping sometimes. I guess that makes sense. Emmy's a girl after all, but Rin? Rin comes with you. We usually swim by the art supply store. Plus she likes the music store that sells all kinds of weird sounding stuff. She says it helps focus her. That makes a little more sense. I see. Any other hidden hobbies? Emmy wags a finger at me. Now, why would I go and reveal all my dark secrets to you? We hardly know one another. Somehow I think that's all Emmy has in the way of hobbies. Still, I don't think my question's been answered. Even if you do have a few hobbies, I still don't see why you hang out with Rin so much. I mean, she's kind of weird, isn't she? This comment causes Emmy to laugh loudly. That's the understatement of the year. So what? I mean, you're a lot better at conversation and stuff, so I figured you'd hang out with a lot of people, but I think I've only seen you with Rin. Emmy seems unusually defensive. I hang out with plenty of people that aren't Rin, you just don't see me doing it because I'm not in your classes. Okay, but that still doesn't explain why you hang out with Rin. I'm not even sure why I want to know this. Guess it's because lunch was so strange. Emmy shrugs, looking for a moment very Rin-ish. It's because we have similar outlooks. If you were to ask me the least likely answer to my question, that would be it. What do you mean? It's like... Okay, Rin paints and stuff, right? Yes. Not sure where this is going. Well, I run. And that's why we're similar. You lost me. Emmy frowns as if trying to figure out her answer. Well, maybe it's that we do things for the same reasons. Huh? You know, we follow... Zhao, why are you so stupid right now? You know, we follow our passions. So you're passionate about running and Rin's passionate about art, is that it? Yes, Zhao. Like, why are you being so dumb? Well, sorta, let me think. Well, Rin explained it to me once, but I don't know how much of it I followed. Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising, I think any explanation from Rin would probably confuse anyone. She says we both chase after an extreme. Like she's always trying to figure out a new way to show a particular feeling or something. And I run because of the feeling I get from it. Since we don't allow ourselves to be slowed down by anything, we make a connection based on that. What do you mean, slowed down by anything? Emmy looks surprised and points to her legs. You know, because I'm a runner and Rin's a painter even without arms. So we respect each other's determination. And that's why we hang out. I think. I'm not sure that made any sense to me, but from Emmy's sheepish expression, I'm not sure about it either. She's not sure about it either. Honestly, it's not something I think about much. We just get along, I think that's all that really matters. I suppose she's got a point there. Another question strikes me, and since I've got nothing better to do, I ask it. So what got you into running anyway? Well, I've been running since I was really little. My dad was a runner, so as soon as I could walk, he started teaching me how to run. It was our father-daughter thing, you know? Our own mutual hobby. A shadow crosses her face, and I'm shocked to see her looking sad. Something happened between them. Man, I don't have a lot of time left. Sorry, but I gotta get a few more laps in before I go see the nurse. She races off around the track, hair streaming in the wind. Seems to me she's going a lot faster than she was this morning. As she rounds the track, I catch a glimpse of her face. It's much the same as it was this morning, but her eyes seem to have taken on a harder edge. Guess she's right. Don't really know much about her. I watch her run for a little while and then stand up to head back to my room. Hey! She spots me leaving and waits to catch my attention. Don't forget, same time tomorrow morning, got it? Got it. Head back to my room. Homework beckons. I can't sleep. My body's tired, but my mind is kept awake, staring at the ceiling in the hollow darkness of my room. I grasp desperately for a thread of thought, hoping that I can run my brain into the ground. All I can think of is how I can't think of anything. That is not productive at all. I wonder if this is a side effect of my medication, though it seems odd for it to take so long to show up. Then again, maybe I'm just not as used to my new surroundings as I'd like to think. I don't know, but for whatever reason I'm awake, and I shouldn't be. This is ridiculous. Ignoring my body's stiffness, I get out of bed and look at my clock. 4 in the morning. Last time I checked it was only 1, so maybe I slept a little. I don't know. Throw on some clothes and head to my room. A walk might do me some good. I'm surprised at how chill the air is compared to the relative warmth of the day. I can almost see my breath as I wander the campus, waiting for the sun to come up or for me to fall asleep. At this point, either option works for me. I find myself at the track, where for the first time, Emmy's not running. I suppose that makes sense. It's too early, even for her. The bleacher seats are cold, but at this point I welcome the sensation. The sun is starting to show its face over the horizon, and I know with an awful certainty that I'll get no more sleep tonight. The sun's steadily strengthening rays start to warm me up, and I watch the dew on the ground begin to steam slightly. My mind calms down a little. Oh, I thought there was going to be a thing there, so I took a drink. Someone's shaking me. Hey, wake up. What? I guess I fell asleep after all. What are you doing out here? You're going to catch a cold or something. I rub my eyes, and I'm confronted by Emmy, who bends over me with a worried expression. Still a little groggy, so my response comes out in the mumble. I couldn't sleep. Watch the sun come up. Sounds like something Rin would say. I shrug, feeling the stiffness that comes with sleeping on a bench for a few hours. Is it? I wouldn't know. Emmy grins a little at my somewhat cranky response. So, couldn't sleep, huh? Obviously, we need to run you harder today. Even though I've only known her for about a week, this seems a very Emmy-ish response to a problem. My body was plenty exhausted after yesterday. My mind was just racing, that's all. I don't see the difference. If you run hard enough, your brain will get tired too. I'm seriously questioning the wisdom of doing this first thing in the morning. I don't know if my grades will be able to handle me tiring my brain out like that. Emmy pulls me up from the bleachers with surprising strength for someone their size. Now come on, Zao, we got work to do. I don't actually know if I'm up to this today, to be honest. I mean, obviously I didn't get much sleep, and what sleep I got was on the bleachers. I don't know, should I really be running? Emmy glares at me. Good heavens. What are you talking about? Of course you should be running. How else do you expect to work out the kinks? You've been sleeping on the bleachers, for heaven's sakes. The best way to get that soreness out is to run a little. Now stop hiding in the bleachers and get down here. There's no arguing that. I'm pretty sure she'd kill me if I didn't do as she said. I get to my feet and hop down to the track. The sun is warming things up rather nicely, I think. Emmy and I begin to stretch out, and I find myself once again hard-pressed not to stare. This is how I have to wake up every day. I might be able to get used to this. You know, Zao, it's not polite to stare. I wasn't staring, I swear. Emmy raises an eyebrow and considers me for a moment as if evaluating my response. There's a brief moment where I'm afraid for my life. Then she smiles and laughs, shaking her head slowly. Honestly, you don't have to deny it so strenuously. In response, I clap my hands together and go for a change of subject. So, that's enough for stretching, right? Emmy gives a casual shrug. Do you feel stretched? That's really how you tell. Well, I do feel up to the run, if that's what she means. Yeah, I feel ready to go. Same as yesterday, okay? We'll just run around for a mile at a steady pace. Don't worry about going really fast, just worry about keeping the pace, got it? You're the boss. Emmy grins again and we take off around the track. I think I'm going to die. We're not even done the first lap and my legs are on fire. My breath is coming in ragged gasps. I can feel sweat pouring down my brow and we've only just now rounded the second turn. Come on, Izao, you got 3 more laps to go. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I think I might hurl. Somehow, we're on the second lap. Emmy's not even sweating. How could she do this so effortlessly? For some reason, I'm still moving. She's like a machine. Third lap. What happened to the second? Almost there, Izao. Liar, we got another 2. Nothing to be done. I can't do this. Emmy whirls around and begins running backwards. My face is a mask of anger that surprises me. Never say that. If you say that, you have already lost. Keep moving. If you're alive, you can keep moving, damn it. Whoa, language. We're on the fourth lap now. She really seems to want me to keep going. Legs move, move, move. They feel so sluggish. I'm in mud or molasses or tar. I can't go on. I'll go on. Final search is out. Give it all you got. I pump my legs as fast as they'll go. Keep refusing to obey my commands. Somehow I keep moving. Somehow I finish. That's it, Izao. I knew you had it in you. The anger Emmy showed a lap ago is gone, replaced with pride. She's positively radiant, like she just won the gold medal or something. I stagger to a stop and fall to my hands and knees, gasping for air. My heart is pounding far harder than it has in a long time. I don't think it's done this since... Oh, God. Please slow down, heart. Just slow down, stop racing. I cough and for some reason feel a grin crossing my face. So this is how I die, huh? Trying to stay healthy? How ironic. I'm all ready to give up right there. Then I feel my heart slow down. 2 hands grab under my arms and tug upwards. I look up and see Emmy standing over me with a mixture of delight and worry. On your feet. Come on, you'll never catch your breath that way. Somehow I manage to stand. I try to raise my arms above my head, but they feel like lead. Start walking around the track while Emmy keeps close to me, like she's afraid I'll fall over or something. She may not be far off. I feel terrible and say so. Emmy laughs. But you finished, didn't you? You said you couldn't, but you did. Isn't that worth it? I'm not sure. I don't really have the breath to say so. But that small grin I felt on my face earlier hasn't left. So what if my heart's weak? I still survived this morning. Maybe I'll survive tomorrow too. Maybe. If I'm lucky. As soon as it becomes apparent that I'm not going to suddenly keel over, Emmy takes off on her sprints. I don't know how the hell she can manage to sprint after running a mile, but I guess she's in much better shape than me. Once again, as I walk around the track, I can't help watching Emmy sprint. It's weird, but she's like a different person when she's pushing herself. Last time I noticed her eyes, but this time I noticed her mouth. It's her mouth that catches my attention. She's not wearing her normal grin. She's still smiling, but there's a tightness to it. It's almost grim, like she's fighting a losing battle, but doesn't care. She seems to be running harder like she did yesterday. Sweat has started to pour down her face, but she keeps going. Her mouth finally opens, as she can no longer get enough air through her nose. She passes me once more, legs pumping, arms swinging in time, and her lips slightly parted. She looks beautiful. After we've both taken some laps down the track to cool down, Emmy changes back to her usual self. The transformation I saw in her is gone. Not bad today, Izao. There's almost admiration in her voice. Oh, what do you mean? I would have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me. Emmy colors a little, seemingly embarrassed about her outburst. Sorry about that. I just can't stand to see people give up, especially about something like this. Saying I can't go on is silly when you're obviously going on while you're saying it. That's what this is all about. What, saying silly things? Emmy sticks her tongue out at me. Idiot, I mean showing you that you're alive. Showing I'm alive, huh? I didn't know it had to be so painful. But it does feel pretty good despite that. Besides, this is one of the hardest days. What do you mean? Whenever you start a workout, it's difficult the first day, really hard the second day, and then the third day is easier. You just look at days that are really hard, but they'll pop up less than nice. So this will eventually get really easy, huh? Yeah, of course. But then you have to increase the difficulty or you'll never get ahead. You'll just get complacent and you'll lose a sense of accomplishment. So you'll have to run more than just 4 laps, huh? Yep, but not for a while. You'll have to be careful, too. I thought strikes Emmy and her face lights up. Got it. Got what? You can come with me to see the nurse. That way you won't fall over dead or anything. How charming. When? Right now, of course. You'll need a shower and everything. Alright, we don't have much time then. Grabbing my hand, she's off, pulling me along with her. Alright, drink break. Alright. My goodness, you're in a hurry today, aren't you, Emmy? I have no idea how we got to the nurse's office so fast, but here we are. The nurse grins at Emmy and seems to completely ignore me. You got plenty of time to take a shower and get to class, you know. There's no need to run through the hallways like that. I could hear you coming a mile away. Somehow, it doesn't seem like he's actually scolding Emmy at all. It's like this sort of routine between the two of them. Emmy does a passable imitation of remorse. I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. The nurse nods and Emmy both laugh at some private joke. Suddenly, it seems that he notices me. Ah, hello, Zhao. What brings you here? Well, Zhao's officially joined me on my morning runs. I start to explain, but Emmy cuts me off. I thought he might need to visit you so he doesn't die or anything. The nurse raises his eyebrow in mock horror. Yes, that would certainly put me out of a job fast, wouldn't it? Well then, Zhao, let's have a look at you. Lift up your shirt, would you? Suddenly very conscious of the fact that Emmy's in the room with me and blush in spite of myself. The nurse seems to sense my discomfort, but only seems to amuse him. A bit shy, are we? Makes an apologetic bow to Emmy. Sorry, Emmy, I tried to get you a free show, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Emmy stiffens slightly and fires a look of annoyance at him. You're an asshole. Emmy bows to me apologetically. I'll wait outside, okay, Zhao? I begin to stammer that it's not really a big deal. She doesn't have to leave, but she's already out the door, and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it. I don't follow. He laughs again like he's in some sort of, on some joke that's over my head. I can still get her flustered. It's competition of sorts we've had going on for a while now. Sounds incredibly sinister to me, and it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. That sounds a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it. I wasn't going to say anything. No, you're right. I should fill you in so you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see. I got hired in the same year as Emmy started going here. Before that, I worked with Emmy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what? We had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck, and it killed her and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink at receiving the unexpected piece of news. Well, that's not my place to say. Anyway, we've known each other for quite a while. So we have a slightly more familiar relationship that is strictly professional. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. Guess he's really worried about that. I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal. Don't worry, sir. I promise I'm going to be discreet. I had been wondering about what caused Emmy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I thought of. There were only so many ways it could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, it's still a little shocking. Well, thanks. You're a good kid, Zhao. I can see why Emmy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know. What do you mean? You didn't see her learning to walk. She'd go for so much longer than the others in the hospital, she refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to a point where you can even think about running again. Emmy did it all in about a year. He seems proud of her, like a father who watches his daughter win a competition or something. Hell, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her? Why not? Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics. And it's a real concern. That's why she comes by every day after she runs. Say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs get cut up and her prosthetics are dirty. But enough about that. If we don't get you on your way soon, Emmy will think we're up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. After a few moments, he leans back, satisfied. Well, you sound pretty good to me, Zhao. You didn't have any chest pains while you were running, did you? No, not really, even though you did. I had some trouble catching my breath, though, and my heart was racing by the end, too. Well, there you go. The nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. Yeah, it's probably just because you're out of shape. But if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too hard, and of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? I put my shirt back on, and the nurse leans out the doorway to call on Emmy. What took you so long, man? I'm going to be late. The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Zhao, that's all. What? Come on, what have I told you about seducing my friends? I'd expected Emmy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I try hard not to blush at the nurse's innuendo. I'll try not to do it again, though I fear young Zhao may be lost to the female gender forever. Not freaking lightly. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both the nurse and Emmy regarded me for a moment before bursting into laughter again. Told you it was funny, didn't I? I guess Emmy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Zhao, you should probably get moving. You still need a shower before class starts, don't you? Ah, crap, he's got a point, and it looks like I've only got a half hour. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Emmy. I dash out of the room as the nurse begins to remove Emmy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I can just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Amy, you gotta be more careful. Make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've already been up for 4 hours and class hasn't even started yet. This is gonna be a really, really long day. Hope I don't fall asleep in class. Actually, I think I'm going to end it there because I'm not sure how long this day will go for, and I usually like to just end the video at the start of the day. So, oh, you got this nice music playing. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.